Hi, this is Marsha.
And this is Kelly.
We are the 2U's of 2U's Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at 2usfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our 2U's Fiber Adventures group on Ravelry. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Ravelry, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode.
Hi, Marsha.
Hi, Kelly.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. We have to let people know what we're doing.
Yeah, we have some guests today. We're on recording live on Zoom. So we have Joanne and Mary, Knit Admin, and Joanne is Mom Diggity, and Natalie, Super Kip, and Valerie 29, all joining us today on the podcast. So that's a lot of fun.
So we have two things we need to talk about right off the bat. First of all, bees.
Oh, yes. So it's an exciting day here. Robert was out in the backyard while I was getting ready to record, and he's like, Kelly, your bees are swarming. And so usually what that means is that a lot of them are out all at the same time. He doesn't always realize when is actually a swarm and when is just bees orienting. So I came out, but I always worry that, my bees are leaving, which is, you don't want that to happen, right? So I come out, and it's not my bees that are leaving, but some bees have arrived, and they're all flying all around the ginkgo tree and this shrub that's down below the tree, and looking like they're trying to figure out where to land. They're all just flying around. And then there are quite a few bees investigating one of the empty hive boxes that I have from a colony that just didn't make it. I stood there and watched for a little while and realized that they had actually clustered on the bush. And then it also looked like they were starting to, be serious about moving into the other box. But I couldn't be sure that it wasn't just two different groups. So I tried to get them to go into a box. I put a box up close to where they were, and they started to do that, and they ended up back in the air. And now there's a big cluster that they've reclustered over by the box where everybody was looking, investigating. So I think that what had been a dead hive, a dead colony, I'm now going to have a new colony from a swarm from somewhere, not from one of my hives, because I actually don't think any of my hives are big enough or strong enough to swarm. So I think it must be coming from somewhere else. So
okay,
we'll see. Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's kind of the tail end of swarm season here. Although I did see a swarm moving into a space under the sidewalk a couple of days ago when I was out walking. You know how roots will buckle the pieces of sidewalk, and then there's like a little gap. I don't know why they thought that looked like a reasonable place to move into, but there was a large group of bees coming in and out of both ends of that little tube under the sidewalk in some neighborhood that I was walking in the other day. So anyway, exciting bee stuff is happening here today, and hopefully they will like the accommodations and decide to stay and not all go, oh, you know what? No, we'll leave. Bye. Because I had a swarm do that too. I was all excited, and then the next day or 2 or 3 days later, poof, gone.
They rejected the accommodations. They didn't like it. Huh?
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Well, my wildlife news is I was out, as you know, working on the deck doing the demo, and I heard a noise, and some birds have built a nest up under the eaves of the garage, which that section is pretty low. It's just maybe, I can touch it standing on the ground. I could just reach up and touch the nest. So I just decided I'm going to ignore it, let them have because there's babies. You can hear the babies. So I'm just going to leave it till the babies are grown, and then.
Oh, yeah. Is it your
thinking
garage
of odd
or is
places.
it the garage? Is it the garage?
Oh, my garage, yeah. my garage, not the neighbors. But you know where the Chinese dog is, the food dog is? It's right above that.
Oh, okay.
But thinking of unusual places, thinking of the bird's nest, my former mother-in-law, on the front door, she always would put a wreath out there for all the different seasons. And one spring, birds built a nest in the wreath on the front door. So they couldn't use the front door for all the time the babies were there.
Oh my gosh.
They had to go in and out of the garage.
My mom has like a pillar, at her porch, like a square pillar. And then the top of the square pillar is like a platform. And so she would have a pair of doves nest at the top of that pillar where it leveled off, and then a smaller thing went up to support the porch. But she would always have a dove nest there, and they continued. It was up high enough, I guess, that they continued to use their, they were able to continue using their front door, but you would see the dove when you'd go out. But they don't go in and out that much, so.
Yeah. So then the other thing we have to mention is Ravelry.
Oh my gosh.
And the new look.
Yes.
So tell your experience.
So I was on Ravelry this morning, which is, what I do in the morning. And I was posting, updating my project page. And so it was taking me a while because I'd gone in there and I'd opened the thing to put in more information. And I was measuring things and counting because it was yardage and weight I wanted to put in for some hand spinning. And so then I click post to post it. And the site turns totally white with like really kind of skinny lettering. And I'm like, okay, what just happened? That's weird. and like, did I just get hacked, or did Ravelry get hacked, or what happened? So I closed my browser. And I thought, well, maybe something's going wrong with my browser, or my internet connection or something. So I closed my browser, reopen it, and there on the front page of Ravelry is our new look. So I read the little blurb about it, and I went poking around, and everything. I mean, I could find everything that I normally use. It doesn't sound like they've made a lot of feature changes yet, but that those are on the horizon. They've just basically made a branding change at this point. Yeah.
And they have a new logo. And we were just this morning before we started recording, we were reading some of it, because this is brave of them, I think, is that they've put a link for people to make comments. And I would say it's 50-50 favorable and unfavorable.
I think it's a lot more than 50% unfavorable.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It could be just that those are the ones that stick in my mind.
Hi, I'm popping in with an edit here. We had a comment from a listener, thank you, Ferret Sue, that helped me realize that the following conversation sounds dismissive of people's physical problems with the new version of Ravelry. We're so sorry. Vision issues, migraines, and seizures are real problems that can occur from the way a website is created. We admittedly don't know much about that, and the conversation you'll hear in the next few minutes is uninformed by facts about this. It's also uninformed by the posts and discussion that occurred later in the Ravelry thread seeking comments about the new site. The episode was recorded just a couple hours after the changes occurred, and we didn't know the whole scope of the problems that people were having with the new Ravelry site. However, that doesn't change the fact that we sound dismissive, and we really apologize for that. I won't be editing the conversation out of the episode, but I wanted you all to know that we're sorry. We take accessibility seriously, and we did not acknowledge that in our conversation. We should have.
But I do remember thinking, okay, people who are commenting, you have to recognize how brave that is, first of all, to ask for that kind of feedback. I mean, it's a good idea. It's good business sense, but very, very difficult to invest your heart and soul into something and then hear that kind of feedback, negative feedback. And the people giving the feedback clearly, never learned like we do as educators about warm and cool comments. And this idea that, you don't just pop in with a negative critique. You say, look for something nice to say, and then you say the thing that is your criticism, and then hopefully you can say another nice thing on your way out.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't really, it's very, well, it was interesting, just the comments that I read briefly. There was a lot of comments about how white it is, the background. People who were saying, I have issues with my eyesight and it's too much contrast, it's too white. Other people were saying, I have vision issues and it's great, it's so much easier to read. So I don't know, It must depend on the individual. And then my only other comment, though, is that it looks like Craftsy. The logo that they've changed to looks like the old Craftsy logo to me. And I missed the little,
are similar, I think.
And I missed the little rainbow flag. That'd be my only comment. So anyway, it's just been, what has it been, about 30 minutes since we noticed the change. So
yeah, it hasn't been very long.
We need time.
I did tell myself, okay, don't be that person who just doesn't like change and is like, I don't like it because I like my old Ravelry. But so I told myself I would, give it some time.
You don't want to be like me in the grocery store when they move my cereal.
Whenever something like that happens in the grocery store, I hear about it from Anthony. So yeah. Oh, so we'll see how this change goes. But I am very I just am in admiration of the Ravelry team for actually saying, we want to know what you think of these changes, because that's a really hard thing to do. Listen to or read criticism after criticism after criticism of something that you put a lot of effort into. And you absolutely have to know going in that the criticisms are going to be there. Even if the majority of people like it, it's the people who feel really strongly about something who take time to comment. And, student evaluations are an example, right? And also you have to, so you have this, too many examples. Oh, she doesn't give enough examples. Oh, she goes too fast. Oh, she goes too slow. Oh, she talks too fast. Oh, she talks too slow. I mean, you can like sort them into piles, right? And on either side with those kinds of comments. So you have to take them seriously, but at the same time, that you're going to get extremes on either end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Jan says, I'm so glad my criticism of the bright white included a thumbs up on the organization of the menus and a thank you for working to keep Ravelry fresh. Yeah, Jan, you've got that method down. I think you have some experience with that. Oh. All right. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what comes of the suggestions and the changes.
So projects. Do you want to talk about your projects?
Sure. I'll talk about what I'm doing. Or actually, let me talk about what I finished. Because it's really cool. All right. So what I finished since the last time are my paving mitts. Oh, yes. They're snug. I made sure that
So this is your Tunisian crochet,
This is
right?
Tunisian crochet. Yeah. This is really cool. It's 2 yarns. The first yarn is a twist fiber studio. That's that inner yarn, the rainbow colored yarn. And then the outer yarn is drops fobble, those sock yarn balls. One of those ones we bought at our the first yarn crawl that we went to, Marsha, when we decided to embark on this podcasting adventure. Yes. So anyway, I'm finished with these. Yeah, and this is Twinset Ellen Silva, and the pattern is called Paving Mitts. I really thought they were fast, and I'm pretty new. I'm really new to Tunisian crochet. You can see one of my thumbs. I don't know if you can see it. One of my thumbs is bigger than the other. And one of these I started and had to rip it out. The second one I started it and I had to rip it out and start over because my crochet got tighter as I got more experienced, and I had to kind of fix my gauge. But anyway, really love them. I'm going to make another pair. I think I'm going to try to make a skinnier pair for my niece because I have lots of leftover yarn. It's a great pattern for scraps. I think you could imagine like this yarn that's the variegated one, that you could just start with one and change to another. And
that's true.
Using the solid to tie it together would make a really good scrap project. So yeah, I love this. Tunisian crochet is so fast and fun. I'm really excited to do some more of these. So I finished this, and then I started a pair of socks from handspun.
Okay. Ooh, those are nice.
So
what's the fiber?
I see Amy's here. I'm sorry, I'm going to just interrupt. I see in the chat that Amy's here too. Hi, Amy. Amy is Green Hook. She's a crocheter. So this is Falkland. It's
Joanne's asking us a question.
So do you trap the colored yarn inside of the other with the crochet? Yeah, that's kind of how it works. You go across with a crochet hook and you pick up a whole bunch of stitches in the blue, I think, and then you go, I can't remember. I followed the pattern directions. But yeah, you pick up a bunch of stitches, and then you after you've picked them up, then you crochet them off. And using two colors, one of them stays trapped inside of the other. And I honestly don't remember how you set it up, which color. If I had my pattern, I could probably figure it out. You could probably figure it out too, Joanne. So yeah. Oh, Natalie's saying, it looks like you pick up in blue and then take along the rainbow. I think that is what I did. Yeah. Thank you. So more experienced crocheters than I am will understand that. It's Tunisian crochet is fun. Didn't you like that class, Marsha, that we took?
Yes, it was yeah, very fun. I'm not sure though how you do that in the round.
Oh, well, that's pretty interesting. What you actually do is, instead of how we would go across, picking up, and then go back, crocheting them off, and then go across, picking them up, and then go back, crocheting them off, you go up, picking up, and then you go back and you pick up the other yarn, and then you crochet them off like chasing. And then you go a little further, crochet, picking them up, and then you go back to where you left off and you drop them all off. So you're like chasing yourself around. Your yarns are chasing each other around the circle. And you have to have a crochet hook that has, you have a crochet hook on each end. I couldn't figure it out either.
I can't
until
visualize
I was actually when I was doing it, I could figure. You can see it much better when you're doing it.
Okay.
But you have to have. We had a crochet hook on only one end.
Right.
And you have a crochet hook on either end.
Oh, okay.
So you pull it like when you do I-cord, how you pull it, how you like slide it back to the beginning. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
You crochet it along, and then you slide it back to the beginning, and then you chase with the other color.
Okay.
And then you go
kind
along,
of makes
and
sense.
Then you slide. Yeah, only when you actually do it. So
yeah.
Amy says she agrees. It's hard to explain and hard to visualize.
Yeah.
And then Jan said the pattern has links to videos. Yes, I used the videos. That's another good point. The pattern has links. Ellen has done some video, and then she links to a couple of people who have other videos, and I did get quite a bit of help from those videos to figure out how to make the in the round part work properly. So, but I would highly recommend it. It was a great pattern. It was a lot of fun, and Tunisian crochet is not as fast as other crochet, at least not for me because I'm new to it, but it's faster than knitting. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So anyway, back to my socks. This color is called Tomato and Mink. I can't remember the dyer that I bought it from. It's Falkland, although it feels, could be just my spinning, but it's not as soft as I would expect a Falkland to be. But anyway, it's Falkland, and it's a little bit workhorse-ish crisp. And I spun it as a 3-ply. It's chain-plied, so it has long color repeats, which is why I have the stripes. Those are just happening because of the yarn. And I spun it, I plied it pretty tightly. So it's a little, you can see it's a little kinky. It's kind of twirling back on itself. But that, again, is going to make a hard wearing sock yarn.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on now. And then I'm back to work on the cardigan, the Mariannes Cardigan. And since we are, did I bring it with me? Yes, just a second.
And I'm just going to say Pat joined us. So I'm saying hi, Pat.
Oh, good. Oh, hi, Pat. What happened to the links on the... Oh, I don't know. The link to groups. Oh, you know where I found... I always go to the forums thing, and right by the little envelope is like a comment box on Ravelry. And in that comment box, if you click on the comment box, you get the forums page that shows all the forums that you're part of, the groups that you're part of. That's the way I go into the groups. I think Amy is saying it's under community. I think you're right, Amy. It is, but I found it in the. Actually, while I'm here, let me just go and. So up where it says My Notebook and you have the little envelope for your messages, there's a little comment bubble, and that comment bubble, if you hover over it, has all your different forum information in there. And if you click on it, you get a page that's forums. But I don't know if people use that page or not. I use the forums page all the time because it allows me to see several forums all at once. And, you know, what's new in each one. So here's my sweater once again. Hi, I'm just popping in here during editing to let you know that the sweater I'm talking about is Mariannes Cardigan, which I'm making as a tee, and the pattern designer is Trine Bertelsen.
Oh, look.
Look how much progress I've made since the armhole.
Wow. So let's see your, so how does it look where you're...
the messy side?
Yeah, your messy side.
So here's the messy side. Wait, let me rest it so I'm not stretching it. So
it looks good.
It's a faux seam. And so that's the messy side. Let me just put it up there again. And then here's the other side with the faux seam. So they both have kind of a line. I'm doing the same thing on both sides. Let me see if I can put them together. Here are the two side by side.
Yeah, no,
so you can see the difference between them, but it's not as bad as it was. So I've made some progress. I'm about 5 inches down the side here. And
can you remember the pain of ripping it out?
Well, when I look at the 2 balls of yarn, yes, because these were cakes that I had to unwind, right? So I had to, from the outside of the cake, I had to unwind them. And then once I got the outside of the cake unwound and wound into balls, then I had to unravel and keep winding. So, yes, I much prefer little cakes inside of my project bag, right? Because it has the little hooks that my yarn goes through. I much prefer little cakes of yarn sitting at the bottom of my project bag. But, you know, in the scheme of things, I'm going to be much happier with this the way it's working now. So yeah. And then what else do I have in my list here? Oh, my spinning. I have had for almost 20 years tricolor cotton roving. And this is cotton roving. And so this is what it's spinning into. I think I had 4 ounces of it that I had in a bowl in the sunroom, already spun. Another 4 ounces of roving that I now have finished spinning, and it's drying in the sun today. And then as I was getting ready for today's show, and I was getting out my voluminous cotton stash, which is not even all. I found in the bag this skein. So this is another 2 ounces. So I think I have 10 ounces. I think I have 10 ounces, which is a lot of cotton. Cotton is, it's thin.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of yardage. This is a 2 ounce skein of 2-ply, and it's 440 yards. So I have a lot of yardage.
And that's because this is the cotton that has the denim in it, right? The old jeans.
The blue. The blue is recycled denim. And I also found a skein. This was sitting with it. This is just the recycled denim by itself.
Oh. I would expect it to be bluer than that. Or is it?
Oh, you know what? This is, I think, it doesn't have a label, but actually I think this is, I shouldn't do that. I think this is recycled denim blended with green cotton.
Okay.
This is so old, I have no idea. But anyway, it's really pretty, and I like it, but I have no more of that.
Somebody in the 60s wore those jeans.
Probably, yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I have the cotton spinning that I had been hanging around for a really long time is now done, and I boiled it this morning, and it's washed, and it's now hanging up in the yard drying. So
very nice.
So yeah.
Oh.
So what are you working on?
He's having a dream. Can you hear him barking?
Yes. Is he on his back?
He's on his back, yeah.
Yeah.
What am I working on? Okay, I did finish something. Well, I'll get to that. I'll do my knitting projects first. I really haven't worked on anything knitting-wise except my t-shirt. And this is the Summer Fjord. I have to get it done. And it looks huge, but it has to have a neckline. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty, Marsha. Yeah.
And this is the Quince & Co. Sparrow. Yes, I think it's Sparrow. And it's blue with then gold and white. And there's 4 row pattern repeat, and I'm on the middle of the 3rd one. So I've been working on that knitting wise pretty much all the time. And I like I like knitting with linen. And I'm going to be brave, Kelly. Because the swatch I just threw in the wash machine and then threw in the dryer. I'm going to make myself throw this in the washing machine and throw it in the dryer. Very brave of me. You do that all the time. I'm super, the idea of throwing your hand knits in the dryer makes me super nervous, but I'm going to do it. Okay, I worked a little bit on the sock, but not enough. But now spinning, I did finish. I did Huckleberry Knits. This is,
Oh, wait. I just have to stop you. So you saved your label. That's so smart. Because otherwise you end up with a skein like this. No tag, no nothing.
Well, I only can do it if I buy
remember 20 years ago what you did.
I can only do it if I buy roving.
You have tags hanging off of them.
Yeah, so I have. Okay, I'm going to show you what I do. And maybe I'm crazy.
No, you're organized.
On my label, I don't know if you can see this. I write, it's Huckleberry Knits, the fiber content, how many yards. And then you see in the lower right-hand corner, I put what number skein it is and a total of how many. So what does it say? This is number 5 of 5. And then I've got like 1 of 5. Anyway, so this is it's camel, merino, and silk, and I think I have about 600 yards. And it's very. Nice. I think it's. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I finished spinning it and just threw it in the bin with all the handspun. I had to go dig it out this morning to record. Because I have no idea what I'm going to do with it now. It's just. I just remember when I bought it, it was just so. It was like the fiber was like a cloud. It was so soft and. I think
really luxurious.
I think we bought this when we were together. Did we buy this when we were at the St. Distaff Day spin-in? I think. Yeah. Is that where I bought it? Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, now I'm starting. Yeah.
That's the same day that I bought the Tasmanian comeback, the orange Tasmanian comeback that I did a few episodes ago. Yeah.
Anyway, then now I started my second project and this is for our summer spin-in, which we'll talk about. But I have a total of 8 ounces, again, Huckleberry Knits, but a total of 8 ounces of this. And this is 80% American Targhee and 10% bamboo and 10% silk. And what my plan is to do a 3-ply and since I have 8 ounces of this, I'm going to do 2 plies of this Targhee, and then I have this aqua color. I have 4 ounces of that, so I'll do a 1-ply of this. And this is from Sauked Farms, and it's 50% alpaca and 50% Babydoll Southdown Wool. And you made socks out of Babydoll, right?
Yeah, from Sauked, yeah.
Oh, the same.
Yeah, those socks I just finished.
So anyway, I've spun 1 bobbin.
Oh, that's pretty. That's really pretty.
So it has pretty long repeats, color repeats. So I'm kind of interested to see how it's going to work out. Mm-hmm. That's it for me on projects. I don't think I have anything else. I'm still swatching for another sweater with the Elemental Effects Cormo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah, I haven't swatched again with my Targhee lamb yet, but I'm really leaning toward the Dark and Stormy by Thea Coleman for that pattern, but I haven't torn out my swatch and re-swatched yet. And then I did get a message from Cheryl on Ravelry. I think her name is Cheryl, saying that I should, I could do a custom fit and that it would work really well, and I could even use that same cable pattern if I wanted to use my cable swatch in the custom fit. So that's also on the table, but I haven't made any decision yet. I've been focused on spinning more than knitting, except my socks here that I'm working on. So yeah, I haven't gotten too far with my swatching. So what else do we have to talk about, Marsha? We have our summer spin-in. You've been talking a little bit about your spinning. Do you have some other future plans, or?
Well, I did go Sunday. We did have an outing. We went up to, I should back up and remind people that my friend Kim is living with me right now for about 3 months during her kitchen remodel. And she's been going down every day to look at because she's within walking distance. And so she's been going down every day to look at her house, and a little shocked, I think, that walls are gone. I mean, it's gutted, Anyway, I haven't seen it. But anyway, but we did have an outing on Sunday. We took the ferry over to Port Townsend and actually to Kingston, went up and saw Port Gamble. And then went on up to Port Townsend. We did go to Bazaar Girls in Port Townsend. And I should just say, too, about safety. Everywhere we went, we didn't, that was the only shop we went in, but, masks were required. They only allowed, I think, 3 people in at a time. When you walked in, you had to sanitize your hands, which makes sense because everybody's touching product. Yeah. So overall, I think really safe. I mean, But otherwise, we were just in the car. We went into Bazaar Girls, and then we went to the beach to let the dogs play on the beach. But anyway, at Bazaar Girl, I bought little bags of mohair that have been dyed.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm planning on doing is I have a gray fleece that I've one of a few fleeces that's not been washed or carded. So I'm going to wash and card that. And I think I'm going to add the mohair to the gray. I think it'll be pretty. And I was thinking I know that I blended mohair in with the fiber, with the carder. We've done that in the past. I was wondering after you card the gray fiber, if you're spinning with it, if you could just pull off little pieces of the mohair and just spin it in with, would that work, do you think?
You can try it. Yeah, I mean, you could try it. You might not get as much in it as you wanted, depending on the color, how much color you wanted. There's also a way that you can like sort of fluff up one end of the lock, and it's called tail spinning, and then you have little curly cues of the lock sticking out from your yarn, like my Sunny Bono jacket yarn.
Yeah.
So you can do kind of like that too. But I mean, if you held it kind of together, you probably could draft it, help draft it in.
Mm-hmm.
It might be easier. It might be easier to just card them together.
Card it, yeah. Okay.
You could control it a little bit better, but it's all an experiment. You could try it.
Yeah.
You have enough fleece that you could try it. How much mohair do you have?
I think each package is an ounce.
Okay.
So it's not a lot.
How many packets did you buy?
2.
2. Okay. Yeah, that's
well, and I should say each. Let me just say too, each packet has 4 colors in it.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But you know how the mohair, you had given me some mohair also, and you know how it when you dye you dye it a really dark intense color,
yeah.
So then when you do blend it it
softens,
tempers it,
yeah,
softens, yeah.
No, I'd say experiment if you can do it without having to card it together, but you're going to have to card the gray anyway, right? Because it's not even washed, you said.
Right.
So you could just card it together, and it doesn't take very much. Oh, and Jan's saying she'd consider adding it in while plying. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
that's a good idea. That's kind of interesting. Would it go just grab in between the 2 plies, I guess? Well, you have some sampling to do, Marsha.
I'm trying to, Kelly, you know this about me, that, not only do I always buy a sweater quantity's worth of yarn, but when I spin, it's like, I want to spin a sweater quantity. And
right.
Or I buy a fleece with the idea that I'm going to make some big project with it. And what I learned from you and what I'm really trying to do is just spin for the sake of spinning.
Yeah.
It's great if you can make something out of the yarn, but that's not the point. The point is spinning. So, okay, yeah. Jan added something else too. It would add a mini marked effect and probably have a bit of tail sticking out.
Yeah. I think that should be marled. Like a marled effect.
Marled.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you should try that. That would be kind of cool. And you wouldn't have to do very much. I mean, you could just do a few yards to sample something. All you have to do is spin a few yards and then just wind it on like an index card. Wind a little tiny skein on an index card, and then you can see what it looks like compared to the other things you try. Yeah. So, but I also know that sometimes I just feel like just doing stuff and not testing it out first, just trying it. So,
since we were talking about spinning, I was just going to remind people about the summer spin-in.
Oh yeah. The dates and stuff, the information.
Yeah, so it started on May 25th, and it goes through September 7th, and we'll just spin something, or if you're not a spinner and you have some access to handspun, just knit something with handspun, and we're going to have prizes. Yeah. I interrupted you, Kelly. Do you have more plans for spinning?
Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my my cotton hoard.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it. Oh, true confessions now, huh?
Yeah, it's true confessions time. So I was in the habit, I think I've mentioned this a lot, of buying cotton like by the pound. So I have a lot of it because cotton, spins quite thin. So this is 8 ounces of Fox Fiber Organic. This is Sally Fox's fiber, but this is back from not now where she's growing and selling from her farm in California, but this was back when she was first in California, and then she was pushed out of California because the white cotton growers didn't want colored cotton potentially pollinating with their white cotton. So she was pushed out of California, and she's been in several states. She's very interesting. There have been several people who have interviewed her. And so if you can find a podcast who's interviewed her, I think the podcast that was done by the Gist Yarn Company, GIST, they interviewed her, and a few other people have interviewed her. Anyway, very interesting woman. She's still farming. She's in the process of putting in a cotton crop right now. So that's her brown cotton. And here's her green cotton, which kind of doesn't look green after all these years. It might be more green on the inside of this ball. I don't know if you can see that. It's green cotton, and
yeah, it's clearly green. Yeah,
yeah, and it gets more green as you boil it. So I have a couple of sample skeins of this that I have actually boiled with washing soda. And they're more like khaki green color, not khaki brown, but more like a olivey green color. So this will be interesting.
So Kelly, I want to ask you about boiling, because you also mentioned your cotton skein of yarn that you boiled it this morning. Mm-hmm. Do you really boil it at a hard boil, or? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so why do you do that? What is the?
I'm sure there's some science behind it. Cotton, unlike wool, cotton is actually stronger when it's wet. And there's something about that process that changes. I think there's a coating maybe on the cotton that it takes off or helps to take off. And then it also can deepen the colors if you use a base solution. You can deepen the colors. I didn't notice any change to the brown cotton that was in my tricolor cotton after I washed it, but now that I found this old skein, I might be able to tell the difference. I do know that the water was like the color of tea when I was done. So there's definitely something that's coming. It's
that comes off.
It's not just 20 years of dirt from my stash. There's something else that comes off of it. And I know there's some science behind it, but I don't have that at my front of my brain. I've maybe read it at some point, but it is a thing that's done to finish your yarn if you spin cotton. So and it changes the color. So I'm gonna spin some of this, and then I have some other cotton that was given to me. These are kind of unknowns. But these were given to me when I was spinning cotton at the fair. Some people who didn't like spinning cotton brought me their cotton. And then I have a cotton linen blend that I bought. This was at one point 8 ounces. I don't know where the rest of it is. If I maybe have used this yarn in something at some point. And then I have linen. So I have Euroflax. And then I have some, so there's white. And then there's some that I've dyed, and now that it's been wet, it's very stiff, but I used a bright pink, and I could only get this pale color because linen is hard to dye. And I got a turquoise.
Do you use just the acid dyes, or do you use the cotton dyes on the linen?
No, I used the fiber reactive dyes that I use for cotton.
For cotton.
Yeah. And then I have this one that was commercially dyed. again, another, I think this is a pound ball because this is heavier. So I've got this one that's linen that I'd like to spin up. I am not going to get all this spun this summer in the spinning, but I have so many choices.
So, and then the other thing I wanted to ask you too, because I know, are you spinning this on your little Herbie or the book chakra thing that you have?
The charka?
Charka, thank you.
I'm using the Herbie right now for the tricolor cotton. I'm using the Herbie and I have a lace flyer. And so the other skein, the original skeins were spun on that wheel. So that's what I continued with. So I don't, it's just easier to ply from there. But then last summer, I spun these. No, not last summer. Last summer was Broken Foot Summer.
You started those at the Knockers retreat, right? Is that where you did those?
These are from the fair. I have some from my charka, but these are from the Great Wheel.
Oh, okay.
Remember the wheel that I got from Cindy Q?
Mm-hmm.
So these are from the Great Wheel, and I spun at the fair, and I have a whole bag full of them. And these will go right onto my shuttle, so I can weave. I'm planning to weave with these. Maybe this summer, maybe not. But I have quite a few of them because I spun at the fair for, I don't know, a week, something like that. So I have quite a bit of cotton on those little spindles. Oh, Joanne just put in the chat, Yarn Stories podcast did a 2-part interview with Sally Fox, episode 201 and 202 from November 2018. Very interesting. I think that might have been one of the ones that I listened to too. She's an amazing woman. I just bought flour from her. She has, do you remember, were you here when I made did I make that wheat berry salad when you were here?
No.
Did you ever have that? Okay. So last time I ordered from her, and they came as wheat berries, not as flour. I had done something wrong in the ordering. And so I, found some recipes that used wheat berries. And then this time I went to her website and she had flour, and I could see where you could get it ground. So I ordered 2 pounds of her flour too. So she's got cotton, she's got flour, she's got merino sheep. So very interesting person. So anyway, I have cotton plans, at least, maybe linen, although I don't find spinning linen as enjoyable as spinning cotton. I really like spinning cotton. It's pretty fun. It just kind of magically turns into yarn from your hand, from this little puff of something in your hand. It just, you don't draft it, like pinch and pull.
Yeah, how long is the staple on the cotton? Oh my goodness.
So
what is that?
is
that not even an inch, is it?
No, not even an inch. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just the knuckle. It's a little bit longer than the last knuckle of my finger. Yeah, it's pretty short. I don't really spin it by, pinch drafting. I just hold it. I hold it and I let the twist go into my fiber, and I just kind of hold it like a butterfly.
So that's why you can do it. It's easy to do on the walking wheel because you need the one hand to turn the wheel. Yeah. So you have to, on the walking wheel, you have to do it that way. Yeah.
And since I've had a lot of practice with the walking wheel, it goes pretty easily on the little Herbie. My other wheel doesn't go fast enough. My I don't know. I haven't tried it, but my Norwegian, the Wyatt wheel, it's double drive, and my Herbie is Scotch tension. And I think with Scotch tension, it's easier to spin cotton because you can really control your tension. And I pretty much turn the tension almost all the way off and have very, very low tension. I think the Scotch tension for me is easier than a double drive because you have a lot of control. That little knob gives you a lot of control over your tension, where with the double drive, you don't have as much, at least I don't have as much fine control over the tension. So.
Well, I have some cotton here that I bought, I think at Black Sheep when I first got my wheel, and I was so excited about spinning all these different fibers that I bought, mohair and alpaca and cotton, and I think I bought a fleece, and I went a little crazy. So I should try getting my cotton out and trying it.
Yeah.
Because mine's old too now. It should come out and see the light.
Not as old as mine. Right. Most of this pile of cotton here behind me is, I would say, probably from 2000, between 1998 and 2001. That was my first, my early days of spinning, where I bought everything I could buy in 1 pound quantities.
Yeah, that's what I did too. So
I've learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I say that I've learned my lesson.
You haven't learned your lesson, Kelly.
I'm sure I haven't really learned my lesson.
I've seen your garage.
Yeah, that's a lie. That's a flat out lie.
And you've seen my basement. You've seen my basement. So anyway, okay. What else do we need to talk about?
Well, I had just a little announcement that I wanted to make. One of our listeners emailed me and said, well, let me just read what she said. She says, I live near a rescue farm in Ohio. The owners have several Jacob and Icelandic sheep and a few mixed breed lambs. All of the sheep and a few of the lambs were sheared yesterday. First time in 2 years. Oh, you can kind of see where I'm going with this because, and it's related to what we just finished talking about, that greed, right? Fiber greed. The Icelandic wool is pretty matted, but the Jacob, although pretty weathered at the ends, looks gorgeous to my inexperienced eye. The farm owners don't know what to do with the wool and can't afford to have it processed. They will gladly give it to anyone who wants it, but of course the takers will have to pay to have it shipped and processed. The farm can be found on Facebook, Bell Point Rescue Farm. So I told her that I would put this information out for people. I checked, with her to make sure that the owners were willing to get contacted from people about any interest that they might have, and were willing to pack up and ship if they did get people who were interested. 2 years is a long time, just as a disclaimer to people. 2 years is a long time between shearings. So, you have to be, it's free, right? It's a free fleece. You pay shipping. So there's some risk there, but if anyone is interested, they can be found on Facebook, Bell Point Rescue Farm. And if you can't get in touch with them that way, I think I did have an email, a message on Ravelry this morning, but I didn't have a chance to grab that email address. And I'm not sure I'd want to put that email address out as broadly as the podcast, but get in touch with me if you're interested. And I can give you contact information for them if anybody is interested in a real fiber adventure with this 2 years of fleece, mixed Jacob, Icelandic, mixed breed lambs. People who don't, and the other thing is that people who don't grow their sheep for fiber don't know how to keep it clean. So, I'm sure it has a lot of vegetable matter. It's a lot. It'll be a lot of work to get it to be something that you can use. Probably you would pay to have it shipped, and you would end up throwing a lot of it away. That's the other thing. You could skirt it very heavily and come up with something really nice, but you paid to have all of it. Whatever you paid to have shipped, you paid for all of it, and you're going to be throwing some of it away. But I have to say, I'm tempted. I'm very tempted.
Well, talking about it, I'm tempted, but I have to say no.
I got a lot of good spinning out of bags and bags and bags of my meat sheep yarn, that blanket that I made that you have of Ben's. Do it, Kelly, and tell us all about it. I think I might ask to get a little something so I can have a little bit more information for you. Yeah. Definitely. Oh, and Natalie says, this is how I got 3 Hampshire down fleeces from the local kitty farm and 8 Wessant fleeces. I don't speak French, but that's what it looks like. These are great fiber adventures, though. Yeah. I got some really good spinning from that meat sheep fiber for years. I mean, years. And I still have a quilt bat in my trunk. I got a quilt bat, and I made a quilt for a comforter for my sister, and I have a quilt bat that I still am saving for myself from it. So, I mean, there are lots of things you can do with wool that is not spinnable, or that just seems like too much work to spin. And there's a lot that you can do to spin really nice yarn out of wool that's not the greatest. So, oh, bye, Natalie. Glad you can make it. Thanks for coming.
And Amy had to go too, so.
Oh, okay. Bye, Amy. Thank you for coming. Yeah, so anyway, if you're interested, Bell Point Rescue Farm. It's BELLE POINT, Bell Point. So I'll put information in the show notes, and also if you want the email address, I can forward that to you. Do you hear my chickens?
Yeah. All right. Then now let me look at our notes. Is that everything now?
One last thing I just wanted to mention again about the Patreon appreciation. I have had some people contact me, but anyone all of the current patrons, Marsha and I are giving away a pattern, a Ravelry download pattern of your choice, up to a $7 value. So give us a message, send a message to me, and let me know what pattern you like, and I can make sure you get that pattern.
All right.
So we wanted to just thank our patrons on Patreon. So all right, I think that's all of it.
Okay.
Marsha,
yes, we'll say goodbye, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2usfiberadventures.com.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2Us
doing our part for World Fleece.